that whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't ever hurt me. That is like such a crock of shit. I'll tell you, I would rather have someone break my arm than hurt my fucking feelings. The amount of things that I'm sure people thought they said to me, like for them, it was just never a thought again. Yeah. It has haunted me. Yeah. So it matters.
We used to be kids. Now we're not. Something happened in between. This is the Broken Youth Club.
So that's what I was doing. I was putting new drum heads on my drums, and Oliver came out into the living room and basically gave me a, "Hey Dad, I think I get it now. This drum is cool, but I see why you want so many, because Oliver is now getting into collecting
Funko Pops.
Yeah, the Funko Pops.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name. For MHA.
Yeah.
My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Which is an anime.
Yes.
But basically letting me know that they get the collection bug. And so we had a nice little chat about that. That was fun.
It was really sweet when we went to like the antique store that we really like close by.
Yeah.
Because the last time we went, they had like a shelf of MHA stuff. Mm-hmm. And Ollie's just been itching to spend some of their money. So we went over there. But I think that they just didn't have anything that Ollie really wanted. But I had ordered Oliver a Funko Pop off of Amazon the other day of their favorite character, just randomly, because Ollie's been talking about wanting to find stuff, but I couldn't really figure out what Ollie really wanted.
Okay.
As far as MHA stuff, Ollie typically is kind of weird about like character things, because I think that they think it's like childish or something.
Juvenile,
yeah. And Ollie, that's the last thing that Ollie wants to be viewed as a kid. And so after I got that Funko Pop from Amazon, I think Ollie was on the hunt for that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, remember that one guy told us that we should go to this store in the mall. I think it's called like Nerdify or something.
Okay.
So we go over to the mall and it wasn't quite open yet. It was like 10:45 and it was going to open at 11. So we like did a hot lap, waited for everything to open up. And then we went in, and this store had a lot of MHA stuff, a lot, like lanyards and like wall tapestries and action figures and stuff. And I thought Ollie would go crazy, but I like didn't want anything. But instead was like, no, I want to find some more Funko Pops. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's cool.
So then we went to a couple other stores, and it was just so sweet to see, because Ollie, it's been a really long time since I feel like Ollie really felt like okay to show that they really liked something.
Yeah. Minecraft, maybe.
Yeah, which was a long time ago. And then Ollie got really weird about having Minecraft stuff, because I think they viewed that as like a little kid thing to have.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because I feel like you and I are pretty childish about stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know why Ollie has this this complex with like acting like they like kid stuff. I mean, we talk about watching like Hey Arnold or Boy Meets World or these other shows, you know.
Yeah, we've always
that we watched
been
as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why Ollie's acting like that, but it's really sweet to see them like. And then they kept saying like, I'm a material girl, like because they had this giant bag of Funko Pops and like they paid for all of them themselves. And I think that Ollie just felt like really, really good about it. So that was a sweet
I'm
thing
excited
to see.
that Oliver, I said this, that I was really happy that they seem to be finding something to like really pour into again and like, just be fun with and collect. So now listen, my struggle with it is I have never been an anime person.
Yeah. You're having a hard time giving it a real try.
Well, I mean, I've watched that. Well, it was just the other night where Ollie was like, hey, can we sit down, please, and watch this? So I was like, yeah, we can. So we did. And I thought it was all right. Thought it was fine. And I've always given Ollie the caveat that hey, I just need to let you know I have given anime a try several times in my life, and it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the art style, and the animation style, all that stuff. Truly, as an artist, but it's just not my thing, and I don't think I have to necessarily force that. But anyway, I'll let you blow your nose over there.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm really sad that you woke up in the middle of the night, all sweaty and needing to turn the fan on, and then you didn't think about the fact that it was blowing full speed, like directly on my face.
I thought it was blowing on me.
And the littles. So like the littles woke up a couple of times, like fussing because their noses were really dry, and then I could feel mine be real. Like I woke up and I was like, oh fuck, and now I feel like it's been 2 days and I'm still just like struggling over here.
Again, sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Thought it was on me.
It wasn't.
But you're the one who always has to have the fan on.
I know, but I don't have it on my face. It's like
it's across the room.
Real rookie mistake, Logan.
Do you think you're getting like on the other side of it, or you think it's getting worse?
I don't think it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like truly what it is. I don't think I'm sick. I don't feel sick. I just feel like I was super dried out for 6 hours. And so now my body's like overcompensating.
Okay. Well, I apologize.
Awful.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm excited that Ollie also seems to be really liking this acting class.
Yeah. Tell me how that went. Cause I know you can't watch because you have to but Ollie didn't really tell me much. They went straight to play with Stella.
Ollie said that this week they like finally actually got into some acting, but that they really liked it, and that the teacher basically would give them like a prompt, like they would give the class a prompt, and then the kids would, pretend to be an animal in the park, and then they would have to like pair up with a buddy and then make like a small play off of like what they were talking about. And I can't remember what ridiculous thing Ollie said that their partner
I remember Ollie said something, but it was like pretending to be an animal that was afraid of another animal.
Yeah. Yeah. And when Ollie was telling me about it, like my parent brain or my I just am not like, that's not my humor. That's not what I would enjoy. Like I immediately think about that teacher and I'm like, that person has so much patience. But I think if you really enjoy theater, then kids saying off the wall shit is probably like funny to you or endearing, or it reminds you of when you were in young little theater classes. But I'm so thankful. I was telling Oliver, like, that's so cool and so brave of you that you're comfortable being so silly and off the wall with total strangers. Because I can be like goofy and ridiculous with my family or with my like really good friends. But to think about going to camp and getting up on stage and following some improv prompt, that is like one of the circles of hell for me.
Ollie
like I would
really
never
comfortable
want to do that.
there. I think Ollie will do really well in the same type of space that like Tim and Eric have been able to do.
Yeah.
Just really absurd. And I think Ollie's just finding their voice in that.
Yeah.
Because it obviously 80 to 90% of the time, even to me, it's like, dear God, stop it. But I try not to vocalize that.
Well, like after that very first class, Ollie said that they had like a little thing where they were supposed to pretend like they were something in a park.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And and I was like, well, what did you pretend to be? And Ollie was like, I was a half-eaten hamburger on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, how do you even pretend to be that? And Ollie didn't miss a beat. Dropped to the floor and just rolled up into a ball and then just stayed there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a goofy ass kid. Yeah. But like, go off, Like, I'm so thankful that we've found something outside of academics and outside of just like being home or playing with friends or whatever for Ollie to really latch on to, because, Ollie was like a little soccer kid for a minute, but as soon as it was like, oh, hey, these are the positions and this is how you really like play a competitive game, Ollie was out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, if we don't get to just run around and kick the ball, I'm all good.
Yeah.
So.
And I think Ollie really enjoys the spotlight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in baseball, there's not a whole lot of spotlight unless you're batting.
And there's no pitching, it's not like a goofy show your personality type of spotlight either.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
absolutely.
Purely about your skill and your like competitive nature. And Ollie's not super competitive. They just like to be really freaking goofy.
How much do you think, and I'm just genuinely curious, how much do you think Ollie's blossoming into this type of stuff has to do with the fact that we pulled him from kind of traditional schooling?
I don't know. I don't know that has much to do with it because we're so fresh in that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was before the summer started that,
Yeah. We pulled like, but there was like 6 to 8 weeks left of the school year.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm be curious. And the reason I ask is because, we're talking about being fun and creative and just silly in general and absurd. And I know I mentioned last week that Sir Ken Robinson, one of those videos. It was like the first video that I had watched. I was in college, my freshman year, and I had this class, and it was on the history of tango. And my professor, do you remember that class?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had you write a paper for me because I was just so burned out. Anyway, we never really talked about tango, barely, once or twice. But what we did talk about was just like philosophical type questions, and he would play videos. And I remember the first time he played this video, it was Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk on schools and creativity. And I can't remember what I got into exactly last week when I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about the dancer and the medication and going on to, yeah. Well, this video was, man, it's just stuck with me. I don't know if you have any of those videos where you're just like, I only watched it once. Well, I've watched it several times, but I only needed to watch it once to have such a profound impact.
Yeah.
But it was essentially how systemically schools kind of squash creativity. We reward perfection and we punish any trying. And if you fail of any kind, you get a question wrong, well, that's going against your grade. So I don't know. It was a really, I should post it somewhere. I know I said that last week. Maybe I'll put it in the group or something like that. But
yeah.
That's why I asked the question is because I wonder how much correlation you think of, because I feel like Ollie, especially the last couple of years here at the school they were going to, I felt like it was just head against the wall and just running in place and always never being able to progress, whether that be with friendships, with, I guess teacher relationships. Educationally, Ollie's just, I think, a little different, kind of like me. I think needs special attention, which is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, part of me understands the school is stretched, in certain areas, like all schools are.
Uh-huh.
Then another part of me has our story and our relationship to that school and those administrators.
Right.
And several times I very much saw myself and getting angry at the way the school was handling it.
Right.
Or the way Oliver was, being treated or kind of being left in the lurch in some of this.
Right.
And while Oliver did well, I definitely felt the sense that there was just always something. And I feel like now Oliver doesn't have that on the brain.
Right.
And so has room to, be a little more creative and be a little more silly and collect Funko Pops and explore themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a couple of things have played into it. I totally hear what you're saying about like there for a minute, Ollie, it felt like we were getting a phone call every single week from school about Ollie like
Oh yeah.
getting in trouble or having a big reaction. And Oliver is like a very big emotional kid and kind of always has been. And for a while, I thought that the school that they were at was doing a really good job of like giving Ollie, you know, a lot of redirection, or like they had a really great sensory room that Ollie could go to.
Yeah.
And then it felt like as soon as Ollie, it was like they went from 3rd grade into 4th grade, and the teacher moved up with the class, and they kept all of the same kids in the same class.
Right.
And I think because those kids recognized that Oliver in the 3rd grade had big emotions and wasn't very good at controlling them yet, they knew they could get a rise out of Ollie. And then if they were able to control their emotions enough to be like, what?
Yeah.
Then Ollie was going to get in trouble, and these kids weren't. And I think kind of the big catalyst was I had gotten a phone call from the principal that Ollie had gotten into it with this kid on the playground, and that they were going to be missing some recess.
Yeah.
And Ollie came home, and I was like, hey, can you tell me what happened? What's going on? Ollie was like, well, this kid, like, he's been bullying me forever, and he always like says really mean stuff to me in class. And then I was out on the playground, and I was like minding my own business, and this kid came up and like ripped my jacket off of me and wouldn't give it back. And so then I chased after him, and I took his jacket, and then we both got in trouble. And then I tried to tell a teacher that he wasn't staying in the zone he was supposed to be in. And they told me that I needed to basically like mind my own business. And so then they both got in trouble. But it felt like Ollie was almost in more trouble than this other kid. And so I told Ollie, like, oh, that doesn't sound good. Like, I don't like that. And so I told Oliver, like, hey, your principal didn't tell me you were missing recess this week.
Yeah.
So she just said you were going to be doing zones for recess next week. I was like, so if you are pulled into the office at recess tomorrow, I want you to call me and I'll just come down, because we lived like 5 minutes from school. And I didn't get a call during first recess, so I thought it wasn't a big deal. But then I did get a call from Ollie's second recess, and they were like, hey, you told me to call you if I'm in the office. I'm in the office. And I'm like, bet, here I come. And I go and I like sit down with the principal, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, it feels like Oliver is constantly getting in trouble because they're reacting to the shit these other kids are doing.
Yeah. And also like it was always in the principal's office, and like,
all the
like
time.
big trouble. And I remember like, I definitely went to the principal's office because I was a problem child.
Yeah.
But never to the frequency that Oliver, it's like their punishments seem to be
super extreme.
Too severe.
Yeah. And so I'm like talking to the principal, and I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm like, it just feels like these kids know they can like poke, and Ollie will have a reaction. Gross.
Yeah. It's okay. You're sick.
Ollie will have a reaction, and then they get in trouble too, instead of this kid that should have not been like doing this stuff over and over again. And like, we were having problems with the same kid over and over again. And Ollie after that was like, it was so clear that Ollie was so thankful that I like came to bat for them, you know. And then I just like pulled Ollie from school that day.
That.
And it really pissed me off too, because the principal was like, well, I mean, we let both of the kids go out for first recess for like half of it, and then we came and got them after 15 minutes. And it's like, but they weren't bothering each other.
Yeah.
So like, it felt like instead you forgot that these kids were supposed to miss recess. So then you go out and grab them.
Let's put them back in time.
And it's like, but they weren't bothering each other then. So then it's like, what's the point? Why are you doing that? And so I think that like really stuck with Ollie, knowing that like, no, I know when you're wrong, and I'll tell you when you're wrong, but I'm also going to go to bat for you when
Yeah,
you're not.
right.
Or when like I don't feel like these things are being handled right.
Mhm.
And again, I have a degree in elementary ed. I didn't ever work as a formal teacher, but I had like the half of a school year as a student teacher. And you have to do like, you know, all of the work that a teacher does. So it's like, I know that my kid's a lot. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm one of those parents that goes in and I'm like, my kid's a perfect angel. And how could you possibly ever say they do things wrong? I know Ollie does
Which
things
is
wrong.
why I think we gave the school so much leeway, like in the first year, essentially.
But when it's like, no, this is nonstop.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you doing anything about it?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we moved and Ollie went into this new school, they were only there for like a few days. And then we got an email about some guy that was trying to get into the school. So they had like put the school on lockdown and they had to call the cops and have the guy taken away or whatever.
Think right around then there had been
shooting.
There's shootings like every week.
There was the shooting in Nashville, and my sister used to be a teacher in Nashville, and she knew
it hit a little closer.
Yeah, she knew some of the teachers that worked at that school, and so I just and at that point I wasn't doing anything for my mental health, and my anxiety was at like an all-time high. Yeah. And so I was like, we're just gonna pull. Like, I have this degree. I feel good about just teaching Ollie at home. I feel like they need more advanced work in certain areas anyway. And like, we're just going to pull and see what happens. And we finished out the school year and it was fine. It was great. This year, we're going to go into like this parent partner program with the school district that we're zoned for. Mm-hmm. So Ollie will go to school at this like alternative school for 1.5 days, which I think will be great for like socializing and getting extra help and things that I don't like grading for Ollie. Like, I really do not like grading Ollie's writing. I don't want Ollie to think that I don't think their stories are good. Yeah. But like, from a teacher standpoint, like, you need to work on your punctuation. You need to work on your paragraph form.
I see Oliver being like do you remember? Well, of course you remember the Captain Underpants series, but his name's Dave Pilkey, and he came to my school. When did you ever have authors come and like? Yeah,
during like typically I felt like it was during the book fair week or like right after that.
So I remember he came when I was at Eastern, and he had like one of those big like those with the paper that you can roll over to the back, and he was drawing Captain Underpants. Yes.
Oh, I loved when they did that. When I student taught, the guy that did Pete the Cat.
Oh yeah,
came to the school, and I thought, and I'm a full grown adult at that point. I'm 22 years old, and I'm like, this is so magical.
Celebrity.
That looks just like the books, you know, like, so good.
But I mentioned him because, you know, he was, I remember he kind of spoke to me and, you know, a couple of my friends in the aspect of, hey, I need to let y'all know your teachers aren't going to like this, but I was a doodler, you know. I would always draw in the margins of my textbooks, and I was just always making up silly things, and I would get bad grades. And that's where Ollie reminds me of that type of situation where Ollie's imagination is so rich that when not harnessed yet, because they're a kid, it can often come out of left field or off the wall, and it's like, no, buddy, that wasn't the assignment.
Right. I think that Ollie's brain is moving so fast, especially when they're in that like creative mind space, that it's like, no, you know, this other stuff doesn't matter. But then Ollie's so worried about working on the next book or the next chapter, or whatever, that the thought of going back and revising.
Ollie's
like
probably written 200 books at this point.
Literally. Written and illustrated.
I'm really excited to see overall, with a little bit of fostering, what Ollie in particular will end up doing, you know, and I'm sure it's not going to be one thing, it's going to be several things, but like, I'm really excited to watch that journey because, I mean, I feel like that's one of my number one roles as a dad, is to make sure that when we set this little ball in motion, that it has enough juice to get where they want to go.
Right.
At least from our standpoint of pushing and helping.
Yeah.
And then then we get to do it again with Arlo and Simon. And I think just as long as we again foster an environment where they feel comfortable to explore and be weird, but also know the limits.
Yeah.
It's a fine line of teaching them and then letting them.
Right.
It's a tether, I guess.
Yeah. We have really tried to tell Oliver, like, hey, it's really important for you to like be honest with us. You don't have, we're a safe place for you. You know, like if you do something wrong, you just need to tell us. We'll work through it. But like if you lie to us about it and we find out that you've lied about it, then you're going to get in trouble, you know? And I'm not even saying that like if you tell us the truth, you won't get in trouble, because sometimes you still will, but it'll be less severe, you know? And it's important for us to trust you. And I think that in the moments where that is tested and we believe Oliver, I think that that has really played into like, Ollie knows we're a safe place for them, you know? And I think that like, sometimes I get a little emotional about it because as safe as I felt in my family on the aspect of my home is secure, I'm not like afraid that anybody is going to like physically hurt me. I know that my family will like always be there for me. I felt really good in those things, but I wouldn't say that I felt safe to tell my parents a lot of stuff, you know? And I think that like for Ollie, it's always just been so important to me that like, you know, you can talk to me. I'm not going to pry. I'm not going to like ask you a bunch of questions if you're not in a space where you want to talk about it. But like, we've been having these issues with a couple of the neighbor kids, just like not being very nice. And Ollie has made really good friends with another one of the neighbor kids that used to be close with the other ones and isn't anymore because this little trio is just like they're just not being very nice. And I got this text from their mom today that her kids told her that they overheard Ollie saying something to their friend that was like really not good. And she told me what it was and I was like, oh, that we don't do that. We don't talk like that. I will absolutely address that.
Also
please.
A little out of character.
Because I mean, for a long time, we didn't even let Ollie play like hunting games. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, we were very like, let's be careful about violence with the kids, you know, whether that is shooting a fake gun and a fake animal or whatever. I'm not against it as far as like responsible gun owners, but I don't need to have my kid like dying to like play those games right now. But also like violence towards other people, we don't tolerate that. We don't talk about hurting your brothers. We don't talk about hurting your family. We don't talk about hurting people, period. So
even their feelings, we say like we don't talk about people's bodies. Like,
because like that shit sticks. That whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't ever hurt me. That is like such a crock of shit. I'll tell you, I would rather have someone break my arm than hurt my fucking feelings because that will stay with me forever. The amount of things that I'm sure people thought they said to me, and it would just like for them, it was just never a thought again. It has haunted me. So it matters. But so when she texted me this and was like, hey, you know, my kid said that Ollie said this to this other kid and, you know, that's really hurtful or whatever. And I was like, please tell your kids I'm so sorry. Like I will address it. And then I called immediately and talked to Ollie because we were out getting your haircut. And Ollie was immediately like, I did not say that. And then the other kid was like, Ollie didn't say that. We didn't say anything like that. And I was like, well, what did you say? They were like, well, we just said that girl's like really rude to us sometimes. And that's why we don't want to play with her. And that was like very much not what that mom said. But, you know, but I think for Ollie to know that like they can tell us that. And then when I get home, if I ask you about it to your face, I'm going to know if you're lying to me. Ollie doesn't have a good like lying face. But if you tell me you didn't say it, I'm going to believe you. Okay. Like you don't need to lie to me about it. If you did say it, then obviously like you're not allowed to do that. And we will talk about what that means as far as consequences go. But if you tell me you didn't, and I'm looking at you and I can tell that you're being honest, I'm going to believe you. and you're not going to be in trouble anymore.
Yeah.
And there are so many points where it's like, as hard as it is to be a parent, and how like worried I am all the time about, like, I know I will traumatize them in some way. Like, we are humans. Like, we're not going to be perfect parents. I do not have like a ton of patience. I feel like with every kid we've added, I have less and less patience.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm like always working on with them. But our kids know that we're safe. We're like, that we are safe people to talk to.
Yeah.
And I think Ollie really recognizing that as they've gotten older, it's like,
Yeah.
What do you have to hide? You know, just so that I think that Ollie's very comfortable to show all of the weirdest parts of them.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they're getting better about coming out of their, like, getting really comfortable and really goofy and whatever, because they know that this is a safe place for them to do that. I'm not going to be like, hey, you look or sound really stupid right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say for me, when I was younger, one of the things that's popping out that I didn't feel quote unquote safe in. I mean, I could always talk to my mom, I felt. And I just don't think I did as much as I do now, because I hadn't learned the process of being open. I was always goofy and whatnot, but as far as like my feelings and, I don't know. I was a little more reserved, I guess, when I was younger, because I had to learn those skills. So I'm glad to be able to kind of pass those on, you know, to Oliver, and hopefully Oliver can utilize those a little earlier in their life. But for me, I feel like a fear I always had, because I thought of this whenever you said, like, I had a warm house, you know, I had everything. Like, I felt safe in my house and all that good stuff. Because I remember having a very similar thought of like, yeah, I have a warm bed. I ate tonight. I've got a dirt bike. You know, I've got all the things, but there's something, and I had to like figure out what that something was.
Yeah.
That there's this underlying fear of something in the future, something coming. And I think that was just like my first grapple with just general anxiety.
Yeah.
But I remember very young having this general sense of, what am I going to do? Like, when I leave this house, because like I get to come home, I get to eat. And this is like elementary school that I'm thinking this, or having this memory anyway.
Yeah.
That like my mom makes me dinner, and like, this isn't a house I have to pay for, and all the things that like are beneficial to being a kid.
Right.
And I had this just almost to the same level of like dying. You know, I had dying on one hand, and then I had, what the fuck am I going to do when I'm an adult?
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, career, I have to find a girl to like get married to, so she'll have kids with me. Like, there was these check boxes almost. And I don't know. I feel like that was my first real grapple with anxiety.
Yeah.
And I still, even though I'm as comfortable as I've ever been with like what I do and, you know, I guess what we got going, there's always this unease that like, it could all end tomorrow. That's probably my biggest anxiety, I think, in life.
Yeah.
Is that some cataclysmic event will shut down everything I've worked for or I'm trying to do.
Right.
And it bleeds over into not wanting to rock the boat in certain aspects, or I don't know. I know you see it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I had a moment like that. I feel like it was a couple weeks ago, because I was so bummed about it, because I was like, man, I feel like this medicine's really working, but I woke up today and I cannot stop worrying about finances.
Yeah.
And I called my friend and I was like, dude, it feels like when I'm good financially, I'm not calm. I don't feel good about it, because in my mind, it can all immediately go away. Like, we could get into some big accident, or like something terrible could happen. And then all of this financial security we worked for is gone. When we don't have money, you're worried about it because you're like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What if your next paycheck doesn't come? You know, we felt that a lot whenever we had the business. It was like, what if nobody orders this month? You know, what if nobody needs anything? What if everybody feels the economy and like they can't get the shirts or whatever, you know, like, so it's like when we're good, I don't feel good. When we're not good, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like I look at my parents who worried about money forever because they were so worried about saving for my sister and I and saving for retirement and having their house paid off. And like now they're in retirement, but then like the shit with the economy and the stock market and their fucking retirement funds taking a hit. And now they're still like, do we just worry about it literally forever?
Yeah.
And like,
right.
How unfair is that? And then I'm looking at like the fucking deer come through our yard to get the corn that we lay out for them. And I'm like, man, we are animals just like them. And they get to like prance around all day,
not pay taxes,
and do whatever the hell they want to do. And somebody like signed us up for all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just also want to like walk around and enjoy
being a human,
being a living thing on this planet.
Yeah.
That we like have. Like how crazy miraculous that of all the planets that we know about, like ours is in this spot where it's like a viable place for us to live. And we can like, there are all of these different like climates and different
it is
plants
very
and like,
magical.
dude,
and then it gets
and it's like we can't even enjoy it because we have all this other shit going on.
Yeah.
And it's just, it feels so unfair because it literally like, what is the number? Do you have to be a multimillionaire to feel good? Do you have to be a billionaire to feel good?
Yeah.
Like, what is it literally? Because it feels so unattainable.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, who the hell can save up for a house, but then also save up for 6 months worth of their expenses so that if you would lose your job, you have that little bit of stability. But also, I'm sorry, if I only had 6 months worth of savings to cover all my bills, I would still be worried about you finding a job in 6 months that could pay for like the shit that we need to pay for. So it's like, I just don't understand how people are doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I feel really thankful that we're able to do what we're doing right now, but it's not like we're in a place where we don't have to fucking worry about it or we don't have to think about it. Like
we're still on the path of,
we're still on the build up. I mean, everything that we worked really hard for, we put into this house when we bought it. So it's now it feels like we're starting all over again. But we have this house also to pay for.
There is a sense for me too that like I look back sometimes at stages where I was doing a little less, but we're, you know, at the end of the day, we're still able to, you know, make whatever to make the household run.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of what level do we do that at. You know, you put, you know, X into the business and then you get Y out. But then the next month, if X is 5 times that, then your Y is going to be maybe 5 times that, but then your costs are 5 times that. So it's like, it just kind of grows with you, I guess is what I'm saying. And so we have felt like we were slowly climbing that mountain, like literally one step at a time.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, to me, that's one of my biggest anxieties is just, losing it all, because there is this, that's the point I was trying to make, is when I look back at when we were very first in the Kindleville house and I had my office up in the upstairs and I had my little filing cabinet and I'd put everything perfectly there. My papers were all nice and neat. And I was only making $16,000, you know, it was, but I was also having a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And comparative to like that instance to comparative to now, there is an exchange of weight. And while certain things are easier now, if something falls apart or a piece of the engine breaks, it is a farther fall from the top of the tree than it is the bottom.
Right.
And it hurts harder.
Yeah.
And
or it's like there's less people that could help you because like we're not talking about a little bit of money every month. It's a lot. And it just becomes this thing where I just keep going back to like, is there a magic number? Like, is there a sweet spot somewhere that we have missed out on, or we just haven't made it there yet? Or like, literally, is it so fucking hard for everyone all the time?
I think it's hard for everyone, for sure, because...
And like, how unfair is that? That like, regardless of what like your religious or spiritual affiliations are, it's like, we only know for sure that this is the life that we get to have. Like, we only know for sure that this is the one. Like, how shitty that we have to worry about shit all the fucking time now. And it's like, whether you have kids or you don't have kids. I mean, I had dinner with a friend tonight and she was like, the thought of having a kid and having to like pay for a kid and like everything else that comes with it. Like, how do you even do that?
I know the amount of, millennials having kids is way down.
I can't even blame them.
Yeah. No. It's a perpetual state of like catastrophizing and just trying to make it work. I think in relation to what we were talking about for like mental health is I think it's important in as many aspects as you can, but also in this one, to not try to relate anyone's story to anyone else's, because at the end of the day, we only know what we know because we only have the perspective of the world through our eyes.
Right.
And we can sympathize with other people and we can take their stories and, think, oh, that is worse, or that is, I'm glad I'm not there. But at the end of the day, we're all feeling it.
Yeah.
So like even fucking millionaires out there.
Yeah. Because they also have big bills. It's like a lot of times it's unavoidable. The more money you make, the more money you have to spend. And it's like, you don't have to go out and like fucking blow your money on bullshit. But a lot of times, especially for business owners, the more money you make, the more your costs are too.
Yeah.
So your percentage wise is still like what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Scaling is hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. And then there are games you have to play. Yeah. It's I know people of all levels who are both doing really well, mentally, financially, opportunistically, everything. And I know people who are also on the lower end of the, the income scale, who are both have great opportunities and are, you know what I mean? It's like, I see both types of people in both worlds, or all types of worlds, because at the end of the day, we're all human and we're just trying to figure out our specific operating systems manual when there isn't one written.
It reminds me of my sister. Since I've been a mom, basically anytime she calls me, if she's like, dude, I'm so freaking tired. Like, I'm just so tired. And then she'll almost always stop herself and be like, I mean, I know that you're like, probably more tired than me because, and I'm always immediately like, nope, you're tired. Like, you're tired.
Maybe it's different tired.
It's not a fucking competition. It's not like, because I have these kids and they have slept with us for a really long time or whatever. It's like, I'm for sure exhausted. But I also remember before I had kids, times when I felt really fucking exhausted. And that was hard then too.
Yeah.
So it's like, your heart is your heart and mine is mine. And you don't have to compare yours to mine to figure out if yours is as hard as you think it is.
Yeah.
Because it is hard for you.
Yeah.
That shit's hard. And like, it just feels like this anxiety that's been kind of just growing in all of us. It can feel so crippling sometimes. And there's moments where I can feel like, okay, but you feel it too. So like, we're in this together, right? Like, this is a mutual, like, this fucking sucks. But then there's other times where I'm just like, no, that's like really fucked up though, that we have to feel that way. And but I don't know, like, what do you do? What's it going to take? Because it feels like more and more people are like thinking about striking or like making these bigger decisions. But if everybody doesn't do it, then it's like, I just feel like as a country, we've gotten ourselves into this place too, where it's just like, what the fuck do we do?
I yeah, I mean, this is just a personal, I guess, note on that. But for me, as a collective, I'm pretty nihilistic about it. I don't know. It's not whether or not I put my heart into it. Even if I were to work hard and become the president of the United States, which no way that happened. But even if I did and I make some huge positive changes, still, at the end of the world's time, we are all ash, we are all dust, and there will be nothing left to like matter in the end.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. No humans left, no artifacts left. Give enough time, it'll all be gone. And so, yeah, to me, then it's like, I feel pretty solemn when I come to think about like humanity as a whole and how we interact with it. I feel like we're keeping it together, but it's not going to progress to the to where I would want it, at least in my lifetime, to have these what I think is possible with civilizations and societies. And to me, yeah, that's also a big source of anxiety for me. I was just telling you the other day about, I think maybe there's a different term, because I know there's like the anxiety I feel where it's literally in my chest, and I have my panic attacks because of it. There's that shit, but then there's like this general lowercase a anxiety about going out to do literally anything.
Yeah.
I went and got my hair cut today, and that's usually fine, pleasant experience. But the flutter that went in my stomach when I like realized, oh, it's almost 2:00. When it was like 1:00 and I knew I had to leave in a half hour, it's such a, well, I guess, yeah, it is in my stomach. I just get this overwhelming sense of like, it's like static, TV static.
Yeah.
Just, and it makes butterflies, makes me nervous.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why. And the only thing I've been able to kind of put my finger on is it is a relatively abbreviated contact with other humans, where like faded conversation's going to be involved. It's like, oh, so how long you've been cutting hair? Not that I enjoyed the experience once I got through it, of course, like I always do.
Yeah. But
it's like this thought of having to do this game of, I don't know, that's the way I look at it. It's like, I gotta walk over here, I gotta sit down, I gotta smile, I gotta do the thing. And it takes your social energy bar level down.
Yeah.
And anything that have to do with fucking forms. That's why I so appreciate I had to get emergency dental work because I chipped my tooth. And you had called ahead to like make sure my check-in shit was taken care of. Because it's such a, I cannot stress enough how like anxiety inducing it is to think that I have to sit down and fill out forms with my insurance, and it's so, I don't like it. I don't like these quick little office visits anywhere.
Yeah.
And it drives me fucking nuts to have to do it.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I've been having, the last few days, I've been having this like fluttering in my chest, and it very much feels like anxiety, but like my brain's not thinking it anymore. So I don't know if that's like effects of the medicine or what, but it's like mentally I'm not feeling anxious, but it's like my body is still reacting.
Could it be excitement for anything?
It doesn't feel like excitement though, because it feels almost like, like I want it to go away.
Is it ever a like a immediately following a thought of some kind?
No, a lot of times I'm like, what is this? And so I didn't know if maybe it was like, we're getting ready to go to this camp, and there's a part of me that's really excited to be away from the kids and have that break, but it's also the longest we've ever been away from the kids.
Yeah.
there's the social aspect of it, like going to this camp and knowing that there's going to be hundreds of people there, and like they all know you because it's tied in with your other job, and like you're a person involved in that.
Yeah.
But also there's going to be some people there that are listening to the podcast and know us. And for me, like it's like, are people going to like me? Am I going to come off like boring? Because sometimes I get so nervous in social settings that I just like totally clam up and I can't think of anything to say. And then I feel like, do they think I'm like a boring person, or am I going to say something fucking stupid, or are they going to hear me on the podcast and like me, but then when they hear me in person, they're like, well, she's maybe, not as smart or not as well thought or whatever. Like, and I just get really nervous because like, I just want people to like enjoy being around me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you to like want to be around me all the time or anything. What do you
think
but
that
like,
is? Because I know there is definitely a personality type that's like, I don't give a fuck what people think about me.
Oh God, I wish.
But
I wish I could do that.
I wonder, or if the I don't give a fuck what people think about me is a form of caring what people think about you, because you kind of want to be a hard, you know what I mean? So I wonder.
I was actually thinking about that earlier in the conversation, because like, I think what I was trying to say earlier when I was talking about feeling safe in my house, it's like I physically felt safe, but I did not emotionally feel super safe. I didn't like mentally feel super safe. And I think it's because like, we talked about this in another episode, but like for me, when I would see my dad being like upset or my mom being upset, my go-to for at a certain point from then on, even to now, it's like, I want to make the least amount of waves possible.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do whatever I think you want me to do, which I think now causes me to mirror people a lot. I don't mean to, but I'm walking in a room and I'm like, what's the energy? What's the vibe? What's that person thinking? And I'm making these assumptions. I don't fucking actually know what you're thinking. But for me, I think that it really kind of started this, like, I am a people pleaser. Unless I get to a point with you where like you have totally abused me to the point where I don't even want to have a relationship with you anymore, like friendships that I've lost. It's like, my baseline is like, I'm going to meet you where I think that you are, and I'm going to mold myself into what I think you want me to be, because I want you to have a good time. I'm less worried about me having a good time. I want you to have a good time first. And so for me, when I come around other people, sometimes I worry that like I could come off like not very genuine, or I could come off maybe even a little like fake, or like I'm trying too hard.
You do have like a
but it's because I want you to be comfortable.
No, yeah. I think you have a very warm presence, and like when you're smiling around strangers, it is a very it's a hard smile. Yeah, I mean, you smile big, you're you're a big smiler. But I don't read it as fake ever, and I feel like I have a fake dar.
Yeah. I don't know. So like in that, I'm also worried sometimes that people will then take that as in like a negative way. Like if they're doing something and I'm reacting to it the way that I think you want me to react to it, but I'm like reading it wrong. And so then you're going to view me actually as like, was she just being a bitch, or was she just being like, do you know what I mean? Because like sometimes I can like shoot the shit with people. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, fuck, did I take it too far? Or like, what? So I think for me, it's like really hard for me to meet people and immediately just be like my genuine self.
Yeah.
Because my natural is to walk into a room, assess where it's at, how's everyone feeling, and then mold myself into that. Because I feel like that was an important way for me to feel like an overall safeness in my house.
Yeah.
That was the way to kind of keep the peace. So for me, I'm trying to keep the peace with everyone that I meet.
Yeah.
Which I think then sometimes people can leave situations with me and made me feel like they didn't really learn anything about me at all.
Yeah.
You know? Or like I could come off like a yes man or something. But it's like if you get to know me in a real way, if I feel like we're friends and we can like cut it up like that, then obviously like you'll kind of get to really see that real true form of me.
I wonder how many people though, on their first meeting of other people are genuinely truly themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I'm in a similar vein as yours where it's, I didn't want to rock the boat. I don't know if I have the same, like, I form to what everybody else wants as much as you do. But my response is, I'm just fucking quiet.
Yeah.
Like, I will wallflower. I'm comfortable as a wallflower.
Yeah.
In fact, at camp, I'm excited to do some activity, like a couple of them with you. But we talked about it for the most part.
We don't want to sign up for anything.
I just kind of want to walk around and watch other people have fun, because there's something about watching other humans have pure enjoyment and me getting to watch it.
Yeah.
That it feels like I get to like enjoy it more. I don't know. It's weird. It's same thing with like video games now. Like growing up, I played all the time. And now I can't really, we have that new Hogwarts game that Ollie wanted and I wanted, you wanted. And I still haven't even started my campaign on it. And Ollie's beaten it. And it keeps telling me I need to. And it's like, I never really thought I would be the adult who just feels like I don't have time or energy to like game right now.
Yeah.
But what I do enjoy now is watching you play, or I'll watch Ollie, play. Like it's a passive thing that I could do on the couch and not have to use as much brain bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't started that game either, but I did want to.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of times I can't sit down and do something long enough without somebody like interrupting me.
I know. Yeah, that's like, we've had them very rarely, but there's these times where I think it's been twice now where you fly back home, or we fly home for a vacation or something, or a visit. And then I have to come back early for work, and you guys stay back for like 4 or 5 days or something.
Yeah.
Those are the periods where I'm like, all right, I'm going to get into something. Usually it's like, I don't know, recording, or I don't know, it's a project where I can spend multiple days, or a painting or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't gotten into gaming in a while, but I want to. I'm so busy with like adult things now, I guess.
No.
It's
lame. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm excited. I want to take a book. I just want to like sit down and actually be able to like
dude,
read
I'm
book.
so excited for you to eat that food. It is so good. Yeah. It's not camp food.
I hope that my appetite comes back, because that is the one thing with this new medicine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm almost 2 months on it, but I still feel like I get really nauseous. Before I sat down and had dinner tonight, I realized the only thing I had all day today was like half of a scone. That's like not normal for me. I really enjoy eating.
Yeah. My shit fucks with my appetite as well, especially when I was on, Adderall or Vyvanse or any of those amphetamine things. But, it's going to be a fun time. We've been planning this since 2022, right? Like, basically like since after
the crew.
last year's camp.
Yeah.
But no, I'm so excited. It's in New York. I'm
it's
sure
technically in like the Poconos.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's like just outside of New York, just outside the Poconos.
Which we've never even been over there. So
I have for the
Poconos. Well, yeah, you went there to like scout it.
The Camp Scout, which was really fun because we got to come in on as like a couple days there at camp where there was their public camp that they have.
Yeah.
And it was very much like our camp vibes, where they had like the best dressed, and all the awards at the end, and it was really, I could tell that it's going to be magical, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I have for freaking months.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be people listening who we'll meet there, because I know there are some people who are going that listen.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. And if you catch me mirroring you, please just, know it comes from a good place.
Yeah, you're just trying to be loved.
just trying to make sure you're having a good time. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think we could probably end on, I know last week we mentioned the Patreon.
Yes.
And we decided to kind of move quicker on that this past week, and just went ahead and we've got it pretty much all set up. Just got a few tweaks to make. But we're thinking October 3rd.
Yeah.
Is when we're wanting to launch that.
It's like a week before my birthday.
Yeah.
And this last year has just been really hard for me. So I'm thinking I'm putting good vibes.
Yeah.
For year 34.
Yeah.
Please.
But we will have, here soon, we'll put up what the tiers are. We still haven't named them. We have some candidates, right?
Yeah.
That are the different clubs, AV club, recess club.
Yeah. Stuff like
all that good stuff. But yeah, we'll put the final tweaks on it. But yeah, we're thinking October 3rd. We know that we're going to do a bonus episode every month. I don't know if it's going to be basically just another one of these, which typically, because they're so loose, I think it's probably going to be pretty similar to this.
Yeah.
The lunch table talks, we also like the vibe of those. So it's like, what direction, do you like those to be? And then once it gets to a certain point, we'd like to also introduce doing live, like kind of hangout Q&A type deals.
Yeah. Or even like you guys did some live movie nights that were really cool.
Yeah, we'll just do mix it up. Movie
people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll kind of like finish figuring out what all those details are and share them out when we have them. But
I do think the goal is to launch a bonus episode with the Patreon as well. So you immediately will have
content,
and extra something fun to go check out.
Yeesh.
So yeah, just stay, I guess, tuned on the socials, and we'll put up some info on it here in the next week or two, because we're recording this a little bit in advance so we can
because we'll be gone for camp. So yeah. And we also, I'm sure we'll put some things in the Facebook group about it. So if you're not in the Facebook group yet, highly recommend that. It's just the Broken Youth Club. And I think we just passed 400 members in there, which I think is like very cool. So that's exciting.
I lit up a joint today because we passed 420.
Oh shit. So that's cool. If you have a story you want to tell us, you can email that in at mylife@brokennouthclub.com. As of this recording, I think there is one in there that I need to respond to, but otherwise I've responded to everything else. So if you have not gotten a response from me and you emailed a while ago, send it again, because we had that one that went to the spam, and I'm like really nervous now about that.
And if you'd like to call into our unmanned hotline, it's 509-850-0674. Just feel free to leave a message, so someone's listening. We'll listen to them and just kind of talk about them here and there. While Kate blows her nose.
I know. I really thought I could just like get to the end of the episode, but I surely could not. So
that's right.
Thanks again for that fan in the face there, baby.
Yeah, no problem. I'll let you take the out.
Yeah. Also, everybody tell Logan how cute his hair looks.
Oh God, please.
He actually never gets a haurcut. He usually will just do it at home. And we went to like a real barbershop, and he got like a little taper fade and lined up. I mean, it's so cute. Okay. Yeah. But we'll see you. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we see some of you at camp and we all have a great time there. But if not, we'll see you next week. So, okay. Love you. Bye.
See ya.